Welcome to the Luxury Agent Network web show and podcast, presented by LUXVT. LUXVT provides world-class marketing for elite agents and brokers. This web show and podcast is dedicated to bringing you the latest tactics, trends, and insights to help you win more listings. And now, let's welcome your host, Jeremy Collins.
Hey, amazing real estate agents. I am so stoked about this one. We are always looking for, the best and the brightest. And I'm tell you what, this one's like a home run hit. I'm just excited about listening into what she has to say about brand and marketing. And for those that don't know her, you're going to find out real quickly that, but I won't share. I'm just going to dive right in. So I'm going to bring her on, Pinky Sue Benson. Hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, I'm excited to be here, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So okay. I'm just going to call you Pinky because that's probably what most people do anyway, right?
Yes.
I love it. So Pinky, where do you serve? And I don't know the best way to say that, but where do you do the majority of your deals? Maybe that's the better way to say it. And because you're really we're going to learn about this. You are a Florida expert, in my opinion. And so where are you located? What do you do? How long you been in the business? Let's rock it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I have to tell you the worst part. Hey guys, the worst part for me is always talking about myself. I'm not very good at it. I've gotten better at it, but just so you know, I'm not one. I'm like, just Google me. It's easier. So I am located in beautiful Naples, Florida, which is the southwest Gulf Coast side of Florida. I service with my husband, Josh. We do Naples, Marco Island with a dash of Cape Coral and Fort Myers on occasion.
Love that. All right. So, by the way, it's gorgeous down there. Absolutely gorgeous. And so, before the big topic I kind of want to dive in with you is you have developed this brand, okay, that agents strive for, in my opinion. I coach agents all the time, and honestly, the biggest questions they have is how do I create a brand, right? Now, look, I know it's not easy. You've been at this for 15 years, right? So it's not easy creating a brand. So, but let's talk about it for a minute. So obviously agents have a brokerage brand, right? Whether it be Remax, whether it be Century 21, whether it be EXP, whatever it is, KW, it doesn't matter. Why is it important, in your opinion? Now, 15 years later, you may have had a different answer at the very beginning. Why is it important to create this brand for each agent?
I will say that I did know from the beginning. So when I first got into real estate, and I've always been with Remax, and this was 14, 15 years ago when people actually still did call the office phone number. And I realized really quickly that every woman whose name is Susan gets into real estate. So there were 5 Sues in my office. And I also realized that buyers sometimes have no idea what their name is, let alone what my name is. So I needed to find a way to stick out so that when they called in and they're like, yeah, I think her name is Sue, that they would be able to differentiate me from every other Sue. Was it Sue P, Sue Z, Sue, Sue B? Like, who was the person that you were talking to? It can be hard to come up with the brand idea. And when I first started, I had a partner, my fabulous friend Shauna, and we were partners, and I really liked the lily colors, the pink and green. And so the idea was I was going to be pink and she was going to be green. And that's kind of how it started. And I used to wear derby hats, because I thought,
I love it.
Nothing else. They will remember that I had a hat on. Like, they might not remember the pink, but they'll remember that she had these giant hats on. And so I would wear these giant hats out to show houses. My brother thought I was completely insane. Right? Like, my sister thinks she's a Southern belle. That was like, I'm talking Kentucky.
And I mean, look, I'm from Kentucky. I live in Kentucky, so I get the Kentucky Derby hat. Now that's, I think, big, right? So to me, I'm seeing, okay, an agent opens the door to their car and they're getting out of the open house, they're getting out to show property, and the hat's like, coming out.
There you go. I had fascinators. You know what a fascinator is?
Oh, yeah.
I had I had everything. And sometimes they were pink, sometimes they were other colors, but they knew that it was, and I mean, I was in a small town. I wasn't in Naples at that time. I was in a small town north of Tampa where there were like 400 agents. So, I mean, talk about sticking out like
you
a sore
stood
thumb.
out like a sore thumb. Yes. Which is not a bad thing to be a real estate agent and stick out.
No, it's not, but it is sometimes, because as we know, we're human beings. And I think sometimes in competitive situations, we like to tear down the other building to build ourselves up. So sometimes you do have to have thicker skin, and you have to keep your head down, and you have to say, I know what I'm doing and I don't care what they think. And I'm just going to keep going forward with it. And 15 years later, it has served me well.
All right. So let's dive into that nugget a minute, because that's a golden nugget information, because agents, sometimes they step out, they think, okay, I know agents right now that are musicians, right? And they're trying to figure out what their niche could be, but they're scared and they're nervous about getting that. Oh gosh, who's that? Oh, what is she doing now?
Like,
And I'm sure
I
you've
don't
done
know
that.
how many times I've heard, who does she think she is? Like, I don't know how many times I heard that. And let me just, on the music note, that was kind of a pun there, but on the music note, I have to tell you, if I could sing, you all would be in big.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I would be the singing real estate agent of Naples and drive everyone absolutely bonkers with it.
I love that though. And agents this is where they get stuck, in my opinion. They may rely on, and look, sometimes it's good to listen to what naysayers say. And sometimes it's good to, be your own self. And look, I'm all about stepping outside that box, and then actually stepping way, way outside the box, just to find out how far I can go. And so I love the fact that you are cool with 400 other agents stepping out of your car in a hat that's bigger than a 10-gallon drum, and making a statement, right? Because sometimes building your brand is all about making that statement.
It is about making a statement, and the eyeballs are going to be on you. And like I said, you've got to be secure in it. So don't embrace something that you don't love or want to address for the rest of your existence, right?
Wow, that's huge.
For me, it is now to the point, and I'm very grateful for it, that people will text me pictures and say, hey, I was out at the store and I saw this pink thing and I thought of you. And they might be in Alaska, they might be in Minnesota, they might be anywhere. Oh, I was out and I was at this coffee shop and the whole coffee shop was pink and all I could think about was you.
Wow.
When people ask me, do you ever get sick of wearing pink? No, there's a ton of shades in pink. In fact, I have now trained my eye to only see pink when I go shopping. So my kids, my husband have to be like, yo, I don't need any pink.
We're out of pink.
Because I buy for them in pink, So,
wow.
So my daughter had to readjust my eyeballs to be like,
now,
Mom, I don't.
Now I got to ask, does your husband have a pink shirt he wears along with you?
He has more than one pink shirt.
I assume.
More than one pink tie. He does. And does he wear it every day? No, he doesn't wear it every day. But is he part of the brand? And when it's time to be on, yes, he is on. I love it. And
so let's talk about that for a minute. You get pictures from people all over the United States and outside the United States when they think of the word pink. That's pretty massive, by the way, to think you took a color and now people associate you with a color. Not even in real estate, but you're doing something pretty amazing, I have to say.
Well, thank you. But, and the evolution wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to take my hat off and put pink hair on. Okay. Just to be clear, I was initially the pink lady of real estate. That was my tagline, I'm the pink lady of real estate, which is actually my website. So then as I moved from that one area to the new area, I became Pinky Nose Naples, right? So then I purchased a pink VW Beetle, because up until then they were like, do you have a pink car? And I'm like, I'm not Mary Kay. And then a VW Beetle comes along that's one of 3,000 in the country. And I'm like, okay, got to get the pink Beetle. So I get the pink Beetle. And then the last part of it was the hair. Like I sometimes would have a streak of pink.
Yep.
Then I got the full pink. And especially when I started doing my speaking rounds and I was out in front of the stage, I had the pink hair. And what's so funny to me is, one, how many people are like, where's your pink hair? Because the pandemic, I was blonde again. Yep. So they're like, where's your pink hair? And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? That was the last part of it. And then two, I will say this, and this comes back to worrying about what other people think about you. I have had people, and it's funny because it happens a lot of times in the grocery stores. I have, especially older men, like to talk to me because they think I'm kind of dumb with my pink hair, And then as soon as I open my mouth, they're like, oh my gosh, she has a brain in there. But and I'm in a very conservative area. So sometimes people will look at me and think, oh, she must not have a brain in her head. How can she get into this business? How can anybody take her seriously? And I say, ask me something about real estate and then we can have a conversation and you can decide whether or not I have a brain in my head.
I'll knock out of the ballpark every time.
So you have to, and that's the thing, is that you have to be able to live with those kinds of judgment, I guess.
I love that though. I mean, I absolutely love the fact that, you went all in, and it took 15 years, but you went all in on this thing, and it's paying off, right? Because we talked before this podcast a little bit that you are now a majority of your clients you get are from referrals now.
Yeah. And from you guys. Thank you.
I mean, I love that. And the fact that is, you live in Naples, which is primarily a very vacation-y, people are buying for second homes there a lot. And you said that earlier, but, I think that, it's a different clientele, and the way you built your referral base is pretty freaking amazing. The fact that, agents do know you from all over, and you're actually referring out to other agents now, right?
Oh yeah. I'm like the matchmaker. I have people consistently every single day. I get DMs, text messages. Hey, Pinky, who do you know in Cocoa Beach, Florida? Who do you know in Minnesota? Who do you know in Lexington? And I have an agent referral map, which I tell you, it is worth the time to go on Google, make a interactive Google map. It's very easy, and just start pinning your favorite agents all over the country. Put their phone number in there so you have it right then. You don't have to Google it later. Be organized about it, and you can really, start to be that connector between people. And it has benefited me, over and over again. And I'm so happy to have this community and to, talk up people. I did a buyer's webinar a couple weeks ago. It was an online buyer's webinar, and I had about 20 people in there.
Wow.
And while I was talking about Florida, because everybody thinks, oh, I just want to buy a little condo for $200,000 on the beach in Florida. Yes, so do I. There's none of
everybody.
But so I put up the entire state of Florida, and I strategically, all the places that people talk about, Orlando, Cocoa, I have all of them up there with the average price of a place.
Wow.
And then I put agent names up there. I gave out like 3 referrals that night because people wanted other parts of Florida. So now it's like Pinky knows Florida,
I love that. And one of my biggest coaching recently in the past 6 months is I'm pushing agents, telling them you should be doing these webinars. You should be doing these online classes. You should be doing, show yourself that you are the expert in the area. And those are great ways to do it. So kudos to you for doing that kind of stuff. Because I love it. And the big deal is, when you're doing those things, you're touching people that never be touched before. And so you're doing your best just to step outside the box the best you can, which I love. So this is going to be a transition point for us for this podcast. I want to kind of dive into social media game for a minute, because honestly, you've built, and I'm going to say it because I'm giving you credit for it. You have built an amazing social media game, and it's not easy, but you have done it, and it looks easy on our end, looking from the outside in. So first of all, share your Instagram name for your where people can reach you at. I want them to view this later on and just check out some of the videos you've done recently. So let's talk about social media, and let's talk about videos after you share how they can find you.
Okay. So if you're on Instagram, it's going to be Pinky Knows Naples. I do have a group on Facebook called Pinky Knows Video.
I love it.
It's kind of funny because that's also what's become synonymous with my brand is social media and video, because I have done everything. I've been doing video for more than 10 years. So everyone that jumped on the bandwagon in the last couple of years, like I've already been there, done that, like, 100 miles ahead of that. But, that's the thing, is that there is power in the video. That's what we're doing right now. And everybody that has stopped and said, oh no, I'm not going to do it. Well, you're either going to evolve or you're going to dissolve. Like, that's all there is to it. You've got to incorporate it in some way. And social media is another example. I got on Facebook first. It was like me and Mark Zuckerberg and
very few,
like right at the beginning. And yet again, the comments were, "What is going on? What is she do? Why are you wasting your time?" I'm like, "You'll see." And then it came around, and and that's the thing, is social media is a game in the sense of you've got to know your audience. You have to know, where is their attention. What are they looking at? What do they engage with? I see real estate agents, and because I have so many referrals, the majority of everyone that's on Facebook or Instagram is a real estate agent in my world. So I see your content, and the majority of it, I'm going to be really nice, but look,
You can be not nice here because I honestly, that's how we learn. We learn from our failures. And that's what my opinion is. I've done some stupid stuff on social media and I look back and go, I can learn from that.
I can do better, right? So I'm going to say you can do better. And my best and biggest tip to you comes actually from my friend Chris Smith. He says, go and look at your last 10 posts, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook. What did people interact with? What did people engage with? Did you put up something and you got like 2 likes? That means they didn't like it. Okay. Like it didn't hit the algorithm right. Okay.
Yep.
The words that you use are in fact monitored. So when you use things like sale, for free, join, there's certain words.
Like, click, comment,
share. Those words are like red flags to the algorithm and they push your stuff down. So you've got to figure out, how do I get around that algorithm? How do I talk about real estate without saying, hey, look at me, I just sold another one, like you've got to find another way to do it.
And, one of the big tips, and I see you do it all the time, is that, you don't have to really talk about real estate 100% of the time to get across that you're a real estate agent. I struggle. When I teach new clients and new agents, especially, they get into the thing, I'm going to hit them real estate. And it's like, okay, slow your roll. We're going to slow down.
Your engagement's going to go way down.
Big time.
They're all supportive when you get in. But then it's like afterwards, they're like, oh my gosh, stop talking about it.
So we really have to get to, it's okay to share personal stuff sometimes. It's okay to share behind the scenes stuff sometimes. It's okay to be who you are. And that's changed in the past 15, 20 years, right? Because it used to be, you have to be all professional and you have to be, this stand-up person on video. Video used to be, you had to pay 10 grand for a commercial. Now, you can jump on your $1,000 iPhone and literally shoot a commercial that see by thousands, hundreds of thousands. I mean, I did an Instagram video the other day highlighting some home gadgets I have in my home, and I've got thousands of views on it. I'm like, what the heck, right?
Yeah, and you do have to kind of, I guess it's being self-aware and it's monitoring yourself. You have to be your own critic. You have to say, like, I may have liked this video, but it didn't resonate with my audience. Why? Was it the way that I promoted it? Was it the words that I said in the video? Why didn't it work out? And that's very hard sometimes. And I will say this about the critics as well. The critics, besides yourself, the ones closest to you are often the loudest. So, my mom, when I had pink hair, she'd say, oh, my daughter was born blonde. What happened to my blonde baby? My husband, my kids, my son doesn't want to be seen with me. I have to always pull it back. He's 16. I get it.
That's right.
I understand. But if I listened to them, my son would also be Poe. He wouldn't have any
that's how I roll too. I tell him all the time. I've got a 17-year-old, so I get it. We live in a house where I do stupid stuff sometimes, and it seems stupid. But I also tell him, also that's how I get the speaking gigs I get. That's how I get. It's how you live in a nice house.
Right.
It just comes along with the territory.
It does. And that can be very, very hard when you hear it from the closest people, and even my husband joined me in real estate business about 4 years ago. And, it was funny because, my good friend, Katie Lance, which I'm sure you know who she is. She and I have been friends for like 10 years. And so it was funny because before Josh got into the business, if you saw him on video, he'd be like, get it out of here. I don't, and now he's like, everybody's like, where's Josh? Why is
he's doing the dance in the background on a couple videos I've seen.
So it's come full circle, but that tells you that he understands now why social media is important, why video is important, because that's where the business comes from.
So good. And I tell you what, there are obviously the people that listen to this podcast. If you're an agent, you're listening to this and you're thinking, what is one thing I can do better? It is video. It is social media. There's so much you can do. And I think the biggest tip, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, is to follow other agents that are just doing really well with this. Like for me, I honestly follow people like you. I follow like Katie Lance. I follow some of the big guys in the industry because I'm like, okay, what can I learn different? And if I could pick up one thing new that I can learn, fantastic. And we live in an age where, especially like TikTok and Instagram, you could literally do the same thing that 100 other people did, and you reach your local audience because it works. Yeah.
No, at nighttime, I will indulge myself in TikTok or Reels. And I have a list where, like, as I go through, if I hear a certain music or something, I get an idea, I just write it. I write it down in my phone, and
Love
I'm like,
it.
okay, use this audio, and this is my idea. And so that way I don't forget later. But I take like 20, 30 minutes at night, and it can be it doesn't have to be real estate agents. I mean, you could
Yep.
be, I follow a lot of self-help type
I
things
love it.
on TikTok, and I get all kinds of ideas from it. The audio, the trending audio.
I think it's fantastic. And, I tell agents, we should follow these people on social media. And look, if you don't have to do TikTok, look, TikTok is a little scary to a lot of agents. And I just did a large workshop with a couple hundred agents in it. And I brought up the term TikTok, and literally you could see their faces. They got scared. And I
Hey,
was
you
like,
know what? I will tell you this. If you want somebody on TikTok to follow that's a real estate agent, I'm sure you've heard of her by now, Glenda Baker.
oh, there's a great one there.
There you go. Glenda Baker is the bomb diggity when it comes to TikTok. And she, while she is paying for a professional videographer, you can do the same thing.
I love
You can
it.
easily do the same thing.
So, you guys, don't be scared. You go ahead and look. I'm probably telling this to these are luxury agents listening. These are agents from all over the world listening to this. Here's the deal: download TikTok. Probably some of you've never opened it because you're scared. Download it, create a profile, and literally go there and just search and look at the content that gets created. Right? Because how important is content, Pinky, to real estate in right now? How important is content?
Content is everything. Content is
Yeah.
always what's important, and I think that, bringing it back full circle to the brand thing is in social media, everything, it's not just a color is your brand. Like Tom Ferry will tell you, your brand is more than a color or a certain hobby, music, whatever. Your brand is everything that encompasses you. So for me, when they come to my social media page, I want them to be much like you go to Disney World.
Yep.
You have an expectation of happiness. They're not come to my page to find out what I'm gossiping about or what I'm complaining about today or my health update. I cannot stand the health updates, people, please. I do not need to know about your recent colonoscopy. I really don't. I'm just putting it out there, but I'm just saying that your brand has to be all encompassing. And so that also, honestly, it's okay for my referral agents, because when I have a referral agent, not only am I servicing the client, I'm servicing that referral agent. So I have two clients on the line that I have to maintain communication with, maintain like updates. I have to do all of this. And that's still part of my brand. I want people to understand. So like Josh is an extension of my brand. Sometimes he drives the pink Beetle and he gives like a shaking fist. And I'm like, you can't do that. You're in the Beetle. That's my brand. You can't be an angry man in the pink car, So
I love
that's what it all comes down to. And so if you're looking to start a brand and you're not sure where to go with it, you have to know that it has to be something that you're willing to put up with for a number of years, and that it's in for the long haul. This is not a what do they call it? A sprint, It is a marathon. It is consistently. When I do Instagram stories, what color font do you think I use, guys? It's pink, whenever I use a location tag, it's Naples, right? Like it's consistently using that brand over and over again. And it's subliminal and sometimes it's blatant, and you just have to go for it, and it's not going to happen overnight. Target didn't just put up a bullseye.
That's true.
And suddenly you went, Nike didn't do a swish, that was a check mark. What are they doing? The hashtag was a tic-tac-toe, like it has to be used consistently. And then we go, oh, now I got it,
Now it makes sense. And so I think that's, these agents are listening to this podcast, probably some of them are, they're $1 million agents. Some of them are actually selling 400,000, 500,000 homes or lower. And they want to get to that next level, right? They want to always pursue to get the highest best they can, but also their heart has to be in it, right? For their clients. I don't care if you're selling a $89,000 trailer or a $2.1 million home. Get your hearts right, right? And I think that's what I see from you is you truly do care about these clients. It's not, you're not in it just for the money. Obviously money's great, right? You double-sided deal, fantastic. Yeah. But, I know that's what I said, but you may not like it, but you're in it for the client, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to have, I think a lot of the viewers and listeners may know, but we lost our son. And that was 7 years ago. And that's when we made the transition to Naples. And that transition wasn't just a move from location to another location. It was a transition in my life in which it opened up my eyes of, I don't get overly excited about money.
Yeah.
I mean, we have properties here that sell for 40, $50 million cash.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
Crazy.
bizarre money to me, right? Like, I can't, my life and happiness is not based on, what the next paycheck is. So for me, you have to find a different motivation, what truly makes you happy in life, and then the rest of it will fall into place. And I know that that's probably something that you've heard 1,000 times, but I have to tell you, it's the truth. And if you stay on that road of this is what makes me happy and I'm just going to keep at it, that's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Man, I think that we can't hear that enough, though. Honestly, I think that I know we've all listened to self-help, we've all listened to the podcast, we've all listened to the words of inspiration, but to me, it doesn't matter. It's all about, being happy and moving forward with whatever you're doing. And, agents, look, we have the most real estate agents in the world right now, probably. I don't know what the number is, but it's really unbelievable how many people are getting in this industry. And, you mentioned, being your brand, create your brand for the long haul. It means a lot because there's a lot of agents that are going to be leaving the industry as well as coming in, off and on, off and on. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Naples, you said everybody's got a license in Naples.
Your cousin's friend, the bartender, your hairstylist, the waitress, the retiree who plays golf 3-4 times a week. He fits in showing a house about once a year. So he's available too.
Wow. And so it really is about stepping outside the box. It's about, creating something that's personal to you and just sticking with it. And honestly, the wrapping up, really is about, ignore the naysayers, do what you feel is right and keep on pushing it until it becomes, something you really dreamed of. And I love that fact that you guys are rocking it down there. All right, before we leave, any big advice that you would give, the agents that's out there going, I don't know where to start, Pinky. I want to create this. I want to do that. I want to create this brand that is me. But what's some advice you would give them at the end of this podcast to say, all right, here's what I would do, or here's my thought process?
I think I would actually probably start with a social media post. If you're talking about your brand and how to get started, ask people, when you think of me, what do you think of? And if they say real estate, say, okay, more specifically, like, do you think of a city? Do you think of a location? Do you think of a neighborhood? Like, ask them to be as specific as I think of you as a dog lover. I think of you, I always think of you knitting, the knitting realtor, you could be all kinds of things, the wine connoisseur, you're the potato chip expert. You can figure out a way to incorporate anything into your brand, but you do want to look at the pros and cons of it. Like I said, I started with Pink Lady of Real Estate. It was very broad, and then it kept getting more narrow, and yet it also branches out. Pinky knows video, Pinky knows social media. It can go in different directions. So you just have to take that time and ask your audience. Say, hey, what do you think of when you think of me? Like, what do you get? What do you get from me?
Man, it's golden nuggets right there, guys. So I have a feeling that'd be the if we break this into a clip, which we will, that clip is going to be probably played over and over because it really means the most of how to get people to get started, because that's where they struggle. Sometimes it's easy to fumble once you get started, but that is golden nugget information there, guys. Pinky, has been absolutely a blast talking to you today. One more time, where can they find you on Instagram?
Pinky Knows Naples. So it's KNOWS, not like the nose on your face. For some reason, when I dictate that, the nose comes out every time.
Daggone that Apple program that doesn't know what we're saying.
No,
All right, guys. So look her up, check her out, reach out to her. She's available to help you out. She's awesome. If you're looking for people, if you want to send a referral to Florida area, she probably hook you up with at least 1 or 2 realtors she knows in the area.
Just a few. Anywhere in the country, world. I got a Pink Lady down under. She's in Australia.
Oh my gosh, I love it. She's got the connections, guys. All right, guys, hook her up, check her out. Pinky, has been a blast. Thank you so much for joining. You guys have a blessed one, and see you on the next podcast, guys.